Hello everyone, welcome to Texture Math. In this session, we are going to talk about another few important questions related to Control Value Accessor. So we will talk what problem Control Value Accessor solve. We will talk about the core methods of the Control Value Accessor, and also we will see the overall workflow for the Control Value Accessor. So these are the three things that we will be discussing. What problem Control Value Accessor solves, and we will see core methods of Control Value Accessor and also the workflow. Okay, so by the end of this session you will be able to understand all these three questions. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use Control Value Accessor in Angular. But prior to that, you should know about the basic thing like what exactly the Control Value Accessor is and other stuff that we have already covered in our previous session. And for the detailed content, you can also refer the Texture Math digital coursebook, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find more than 3,500 plus sessions available in both Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier, you guys can continue and consume the content. And also, if there are any questions, suggestions or feedback related to any of the session, you can simply reach out to me through the comment section. Okay, alright, so now let's get started. Here you can see we have one main heading that says Angular course by Texture Math. Second heading says Form in Angular Control Value Accessor. This is our topic name, and after that I have prepared the notes for you that will help you to prepare well for your interviews. So let's start with the first question. What problem Control Value Accessor solves? So let's take this in a very simple way. So without Control Value Accessor, Angular form cannot communicate with the custom component in any condition. Without Control Value Accessor, Angular forms cannot communicate with the custom component, because form control name will not work with the custom component. Okay, so that is the reason usually we use it with the form control name, right? But if you are using the custom component, then in that case form control name will not work with the custom component. Okay, so Control Value Accessor solves this problem by connecting the custom component to the Angular form system. What it would do, it simply act as a bridge between the custom component and the Angular form system, and that bridge allow us to connect the custom component to the Angular form system. So I think with these all statement, it is quite clear like what is the overall agenda purpose of using this Control Value Accessor. Okay, now next we will discuss about the core method of Control Value Accessor. We will see what are the core methods of the Control Value Accessor. So let's go one by one, because there are multiple methods that we use. The first one says writeValue method. writeValue method for Control Value Accessor. Okay, so it is called by Angular when the form model updates. Okay, so whenever the form model update, it is called by the Angular. It is used to set the value inside the component. So if you it is mainly used to set the values inside the component. If we talk about the example, so form sets value component UI update. So just look at the flow. Form sets the value and component UI got updates. Okay, second method we have is registerOnChange method for Control Value Accessor. registerOnChange method for Control Value Accessor. So Angular provides a function to track the value changes. Okay, it provides the function to track the value changes. Component must call this function whenever the user changes the value. Okay, so like if there is any change in value, the component must call this function just to update the things in a timely manner. For example, when a user clicks on a star rating, immediately it updates the form value. Okay, so this is how the flow works. Whenever the user click on the star ratings or maybe any kind of rating in your application, then in that case it should update the form value. Okay, so I think this is clear. Now next we will talk about the register on touch. So I'm sure like it sounds similar to the registerOnChange, but there is a different purpose behind it. So we are talking now about the register on touched. Although it sounds similar, it is similar but in different context, because here Angular provides a function, this function to track the touch event. So whenever you want to track only the touched event, then in that case you will go with this register on touched, and when you want to track the value changes, then we will go with a register on change. So this is the overall purpose behind these two things. Okay, these two methods. So in case of register on touch, component must call it whenever user interact with the control. So you can compare it now, right? Register on change, when user change something, then component must call this function. And then we have next register on touch. So Angular provides a function and it must be called when the user interact with the control. Okay, so I think this thing is clear. And example you can see here, whenever user click input, control become touched. Next we have is set disable state, and you can see the note here, this is optional. Okay, this is optional thing. When it is called when the form controls become disabled or enabled. Okay, so in a situation where when it is called, the form controls become disabled or enabled, mainly used to disable the UI element inside the component. So if you want to disable the UI elements in the component, you will go with this thing. Okay, fine. Now next thing is Control Value Accessor workflow. Okay, so let's see how it flows. What is the overall flow? So first thing is flow of communication, form model to component UI, then writeValue, component UI to form model, register on change, touch interaction, register on touch, disable state, set disable state. So these are this is the overall flow when we are talking about the Control Value Accessor. Okay, don't worry if any of the thing is not clear in this session, because today we are just thinking all about we are talking about all these things in a very theoretical manner. We are just covering the overview of it. Okay, because it is important when we will see each and everything, and we will cover each and everything practically also in the upcoming session. But by that time, if you know about at least these keywords, these terminology that I am using here, then it would be very easy for you to understand the actual use case of it. So let's say if we talk about value, writeValue and register on change, so you know about the difference between register on change and register on touch in theoretical manner only. So when we will see the practical implementation of it, it would be very easy for you. Okay, and that's why like we are covering all these things. So I hope this entire session is clear to all of you, where we mainly talked about what problem Control Value Accessor solves. Then we talked about the core method that comes with Control Value Accessor, and later we talked about the overall flow of it. From next session, we will try to validate all these things practically with some examples, and also if there are any particular theoretical question that we should cover before this, so for sure we will do that as well. Okay, so yeah, I think now we are good to wind up this session. And meanwhile you can just go through the previously released session, do the practice. If there is any question, queries or suggestion related to this, please reach out to me through comment sections, and I would be more than happy to answer your queries or questions if there is any. And if there is any suggestion, I'll try my best to implement that suggestion as well, maybe for this session or for any other particular session. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics and practical examples. So thank you for watching TechShare Myth.